At the end of the day, data protection legislation really not only does it bolster the protection of individuals' personal data, but at the same time it helps organizations because if they have measures in place to prevent scams and these kind of issues from happening and people losing their personal data, it builds trust between organizations and individuals, and that can only help anyone, really, everyone rather.
How satisfied are you here in Gibraltar that organisations are utilising that personal data in accordance with the law? Again, with these scams in mind.
With these scams in mind, it's a difficult question to answer. I think there's a general good sense of organisations being on top of data protection legislation. Part of our awareness raising campaign also involves workshops for data protection officers who are the liaison between the organisations and ourselves. So we do recognise that it's important to raise awareness for organisations as well. And we find that when the GDPR came in, organisations had a few years to get used to what that meant for them, and now we're getting to the point where maybe they're starting to get a bit more comfortable with that.
There is a sense that for these highly sophisticated scams to take place, they must have gotten hold of people's personal data, their phone details, perhaps their bank details. How are they getting hold of that information?
It's very difficult to say. It could be anything really, but I'd say that organizations, if it is coming from organizations, one of the principles of data protection legislation is that they have to have security measures in place to protect personal data from being accidentally compromised. So it could be from organizations, but it's very difficult to say really where it's coming from without having a look at it in more depth.
And are there any trends that you've seen globally, not just in Gibraltar?
Globally, at the moment, really, I think the big thing a lot of people globally talk about when we mention data protection is artificial intelligence and the use of AI. So artificial intelligence would be obviously machines making decisions. A lot of that times they'll be making decisions based on information individuals are giving off about themselves, their personal data. And globally, there's discussions as to how data protection ties into the principles which are there to protect individuals, how that ties into the use of AI by organizations and evolving technologies. If we think back to, and just generally on technologies, if we think back to the average office in the past, they used to have paper files with maybe some personal data. These days you've got AI, you've got terabytes of data on the cloud, and that means that there's increased risks of the compromise of people's personal data.
Okay, but a call in the meantime for the public to take part in the survey to give you some idea as to what their thoughts are behind data protection issues in Gibraltar and how organisations are using that data.
That's right, yes. It's run a survey, maybe come up to us, just be aware of data protection legislation, be aware of your rights and the responsibilities that organisations have so you can take back some of that control over your personal data.